Yeah, new faces picking up. So I'm gonna do the intro once now and then another time in like 3 minutes. So thank you everyone for joining. For anyone that is new and doesn't know about Watercooler is the place we talk about all things life here. So if you have something that you want to show, share, or talk about, please drop a name and the topic like the one defined it in the chat, and we'll get into it in a bit. But for now, we're going to give it a few minutes until everyone can join. We're going to start 5 past, which is in 2 minutes. Hey, Rick, how are you? This is going to be an interesting water cooler. I can see the name and topics are coming in. Yeah.
Rick, you're on mute if you're speaking, mate. Look at this, packed house.
Yeah. We're gonna start in 1 more minute. So many exciting updates. Okay, it's 5 minutes. Thank you everyone for joining this water cooler. If this is your first time joining a water coolers are the place we talk about all things life here. So if there is something that you want to share, you want to talk about or show off, please drop a name and topic in the chat. As you can see, everyone else did it. But before we get into that, I'm going to just share my screen and take you through a couple of updates that I have from the foundation side. If I can find the right screen. Do you have my screen?
Yep, we've got you.
Okay, cool. So yeah, LIP 118 is implemented on chain. Please check it out. You can follow the client on the forum. All of the information is there. Uh, the live runner is also uh, up and running and not up and running, but ready. And there's going to be a walkthrough of this by Rick, as he mentioned in the name and topic. Also, we have the Network Engineering SP Retro and what's coming next. This is the last month for the Network Engineering SP, which is August, and most of the work is already done, although some are still to be continued. But I think Rich is going to talk more about that and go for it. We also have the Validator 2.0 discussion tomorrow. Make sure you check in and tune in for that Validator discussion. It's very important. And lastly, the July wrap up is out. It's on the roadmap. You can check it out. All of the SPEs and the proposals. This is the canonical document that you can find anything that happened with the SPEs during the last month. I'll share the link directly after the presentation. Uh, Moving on from announcements to opportunities, if there is a suggestion, if there is something that you think is important and should be part of the Live Peer roadmap, please reach out to us or suggest it on the roadmap.livepeer.org. And you can also see current and previous and also future initiatives over there. But if you have any ideas or suggestions, this is the best place to send them to. And lastly, as I mentioned it, the accountability for month of July is out, and you can just check out the status of all of the different SPs and different initiatives that are going on right now. So just to give you a TLDR, the Delegator UX analytics, that one's closed, and um, with Network Engineering SP that is also updated and coming to an end this month. We also got the update from the Protocol SP. And the rest of the SPs, the update is incoming, and I'll share them with you as they come in. Yeah, that's basically the updates and announcements from my side. So let's just dive right into the updates. First one to draw, I think, with the name and topic is Define. Do you want to come on the stage, mate?
Yep. Thank you so much. Can you hear me?
Yes, but you sound like a robot
Yeah,
with low power.
I'm a bit away. Okay. Let me share my screen. Uh, okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so today's update is separated into two parts. I will give you an update on our own applications and operations, and then I will give you an update on the SP, the Weave SP. So in our own operations, we continue the marketing workflow with the Punch Compute. We got a lot of good feedback in the sense that this is something interesting to people that they would like to try. We got also some security related feedback where potential clients with clientele that included medical information, PIE, they were a bit worried about how LivePeer and the application will guarantee that there is no someone snooping into their information. So just want to bring it here that it is a complaint we're hearing a lot, and me personally putting myself in the place of a consumer, like I understand this 100%. And I think it's important. Now we put development a bit on the freezer to not development. We pull it back from the alpha testers, the orchestrators, so that we can validate a few more bugs. So we're resolving them, and we will release it sometime this week. We have done, I think, 8 more versions right now, each of them with a lot of bug fixes. We're continuing building new applications that are using GPUs, so we will keep you updated on that this month. And now we're jumping on the actual SP updates. Everything that I was talking about before, it's ourselves, no relations to SP or SP funding. And on the second phase of the with SP, we are mostly ready to release the incentives for the builders who are going to bring fees into the live peer ecosystem. And we have created an initial skeleton of how we want this to be, and we would like to present it to you and have your feedback. So the form of the incentives, we propose them to be an ongoing hackathon that will focus into bringing actual demand into the network. So, first of all, we propose that we are looking towards verified retained users as opposed to most of the hackathons that we had in the past and were happening in the past in Web3, where you mostly had the validation of an idea and the implementation of an MVP. This hackathon is looking uh, to validate an application regarding their verified retained users. So actual users that the application retained through its life cycle for at least 30 days of running. So it will not be a 2-week hackathon that will initially give rewards to people for creating something cool. And how this is gonna work is that there is already an incentive pool that has been accrued so far. We had a specific stacked allocation for incentives. This has produced already rewards that they haven't been used for anything else. And so this initial value will roll for 30 days. Let's say that it's 3K or 4K in winner. The accrued balance towards the time, let's say it's 1K LPT, will be rolled over and added for the hackathon to continue for the next month. So only one winner. And if no winner at all, if no one was able uh, to be the winner of the hackathon, then it will continue to the next month. And it will be like that. You have the qualification where you select who is going to participate, and then for 30 consecutive days, the people are actually having the application, deploy the application, and going towards the market to get user capture. And then there is a 7 audit day to make sure that everything is going as expected, and then the payout. So what is the verified retained user? We define the verified retained user as someone who is not a part of the team that built the application, is not a related party. It is activated in the sense that,
Define, just
yeah,
cautious of the time. If you can speed it up, please. Thank you.
yeah. So in short, it is someone who is actually using the application and is using it consistently, and it is not part of the team. Uh, of course, they will need to be reconciled, so we need to make sure that they use the live peer agent throughout and they have proof of that, and they didn't use something else, so they can validate it throughout the full life cycle of their application and of the orchestrators. And they will be evaluated as who has the most VRUs and whose VRUs are the most persistent in the sense that who brings the most value. If you have 50 VRUs, but they're not doing a lot of actions, and if you have 10 VRUs that they're very heavy users, it will lean towards the second case, for example, depending on the differentiation. And that's about it. If you have any questions, or if you have any ideas about how would you like this hackathon to be, just be in contact or ask the questions here. We have aggregated all the context regarding the live peer agents inside the live peer buzz, and we use that to create this initial skeleton. So your feedback is very, very valuable, especially in this stage. During this week, we will finalize the save of the hackathon, and we expect to have it running starting the next week.
Thank you very much. Do you find anyone any questions on Viva and the hackathon? I I assume based in the silence, there is no questions. So if there is any, please drop them in the chat. Thank you, DeFi, for the update. Rich, yeah, you're welcome. Rich, do you want to go ahead with network and JSP priorities?
Awesome. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Fantastic. Great. I'm going to be very, very quick. I've just posted a roadmap session that will be taking place on Thursday. Doug's going to be running a session on Wednesday. This will be a follow-up session on Thursday. It is related to LivePeer 2.0, but it's also related to the network engineering SPE. So, as you know, the original SPE was primarily a pilot. It was a way of us gauging what an efficient way of funding smaller network engineering tasks is. We explored multiple different mechanisms, and all the funding from that SP has been allocated. I know, Medad, you're going to be doing a retro, publishing a retro, and you've already done that with the July update. Long story short, with all the funding allocated, we now need to start thinking ahead to the rest of the year, and particularly think around prioritization. Now that we have LivePeer 2.0, we have new network priorities. We really wanted to sit down. So myself, my dad, Rick, and the support from Brian and Jason, we'd like to sit down with everyone and just gauge. First of all, some input from everyone on the retro of the SP itself, but then also thinking ahead to the next months, what you see as core priorities. So yeah, understanding what's worked and what hasn't, and really understanding priorities from a broader perspective. That's pretty much it. All I wanted to say. Since speaking, it's gone down from 6 interested to 5 interested. So I'm not sure I've done a great job in selling it. But please do come along. It would be great to get people there, particularly who have been either funded by the SPE or who have sought funding and not necessarily got it. We are looking for a lot of feedback from the core contributor community. So it would be good to have about 10 people there on Thursday, if possible.
Thank you very much, Rich.
That's pretty much it. Open to questions. There we go. We've gone back up to 6 interested now. Oh, it's back to
Amazing.
5.
You're jinxing it, okay? Just stop
Yeah,
looking at
exactly.
it.
I'm gonna stop speaking now.
Okay, thank you very much. I think I don't see any questions, so if there is any questions, please drop them in the chat. But I think next in the line is Rick with live runner release presentation. Rick, do you want to take it away?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
That's nice. You can see me also. I quickly wanted to answer on like the reward delegation. It has been deployed on chain, LRP18. It also has been tested with, yes?
It's loading for me. I don't know if others can see you.
Oh, no, I didn't share my screen yet. I can
Okay.
do that. I was just responding to Titan in the chat. Let me share
Okay.
my screen.
Okay. Go ahead.
Interesting that you saw it loading already. Can people see this?
It's trying.
I tried to not put it on 4K, my screen this time. If it's too small, I can change it.
Still loading for me. I don't know if others have it or not. No, stream failed.
Does somebody see my screen? Otherwise, you can download the presentation there, but it'd be nice to see the screen.
No, stream failed for me.
Anybody else?
Yeah, it's not working. Can you send it to me in a DM? I'll get it up on my screen.
Yes, it could be my resolution. Or I go later. I can also get it working on my laptop. It's up to you.
Yeah, maybe John can go next and you can go afterwards.
Yes,
John,
no problem. We'll do that.
Do you want to start?
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, we can hear you.
Great. So I'll go ahead and post a link to the forum update. I apologize for the radio silence over the past few weeks on the forums. Obviously, been doing demos and stuff in the public to show where we're at. I want to today go ahead and show some updates to Payment House and go over where we are with Lightbeer Clearinghouse since we're at the end of the month, and we're looking to wrap up this project in the next week or so. We'll start with Payment House here. So last week, I heard some feedback from users that Payment House was kind of like business oriented and needed more of a end user flow. So we've added a new personal key feature where you can just go in and get an API key, and also simplified this format for those users so that there's more of a RESTful user scoped type token. So this isn't a composite token here. You can still use this with the SDK, of course. It's intent there. This will give you the signer URL and the discover URL as an authentication for your account. We've also been working on the usage and billing, so getting some feedback from Chung and others, integrating the LivePeer agent as M2M users, which are users underneath your builder developer account. It was very confusing, like where the usage was being attributed to. So um, there's a couple. This ties in really closely with billing and the way we're planning to put Stripe integration in. But essentially, there's two different flows. You have like the person who's paying Payment House as a developer, and then you have these applications you're building for your customers, and you need to collect payments from your customers directly, right? So that's going to be more of a Stripe Connect kind of merchant integration. And what I found is that OpenMeter needs an advanced custom invoicing solution to be integrated there. So far, I've only scoped through the native Stripe integration, and why this is so important is because when you're using an AI application, as you may have with Cursor, you'll get auto debit on your card as you're using the service. Not necessarily all the way at the end of the billing cycle. So it's important for us to collect a default payment method and set users up on the right type of subscription plan that goes with that. So I'm still working through the details there, but we do have the ability to link a payment method currently. Um, and so for a developer account, you can do that. It's just not any paid plans for you to switch to right now. And for M2M accounts, those users, all of their usage will roll up under your account. So as soon as we turn billing on, but the default behavior is that you'll pay for all of your users' usage just to keep the system billing intact. There's also a transaction and invoice history here that gives you a better view into like what you're spending per day, credits and usage, even refunds, which really haven't been issued yet. The billing cycles are on a monthly basis, and then you can actually configure those within your application. But more to come on that. So normally you would be able to configure billing plans here and set up what the allowance for your users is. So there's really that two different paths of billing. Billing a developer and giving them usage versus your individual users of your app. Um, so that's still like I said, that's the next piece that's really holding up the integrated Stripe Connect billing. So on the payments tab, you'll see you can, like I showed last week, you can complete onboarding to initialize the Stripe Connect integration, but I haven't actually got the webhooks hooked up for that yet. So that mechanically needs some work still. So then another update here is the API, an open API doc has been cleaned up to show only the relevant routes. So before it was listing a lot of the internal stuff that you don't really need. Um, so now it describes how to get your usage, um, how to, there's actually some routes added for individual user usage now too, at the M2M level and the developer level. Um, Also kind of organized this stuff, added an authorization code login to integrate with like Kong dev portals and stuff that might be useful for some developers. And then I published the docs update today. So this kind of goes over some integration patterns and flows that you can use, what it looks like to start off with the builder SDK and the environment config, and then creating your first user, uh, device flows, metering, and how to charge your users. So I'm really excited to get feedback from developers building on this. And I've heard a little bit from Jason and Brad who are looking at this yesterday, and excited to hear feedback. Still kind of in like a beta launch, if you will, but it's public for everyone to try. Um, it will be limited to that $5 usage limit within the month and until I get that Stripe billing put in. And then what I'd like to do is start encouraging go-to-market efforts with different initiatives across the ecosystem and getting developers building on Payment House and providing feedback. Finally, a quick update. I did publish an update on LivePure forums, as I mentioned, and most of everything I went over today is listed out here. There's been a huge push to get this hosted clearinghouse built so that we can support the ecosystem. So LivePure clearinghouse is also, of course, there's a lot of moving parts, right? And so we got the LivePure release out last week, and to align the usage tracking with that. So things are a little behind still on milestone 3, but that's the last core development milestone for the project, where milestone 4, I believe, was more for the release and getting feedback from end users. So I plan to wrap that up this week, along with supporting the Stripe billing and Payment House, and definitely looking forward to everyone's feedback and getting them on the platform.
Amazing. Thank you very much,
Did I,
Sean.
did I share the right tab when I was going over that? I hope
Yeah, you're
I got all
good.
that stuff fixed.
You're good. We
Okay,
got
yeah,
you.
it's showing correctly. All right, good,
Okay.
awesome.
Anyone? Any questions from John? No questions. Okay. Rick, are you ready? Is your screen working? You're mute.
I have your presentation. No wonder it wasn't running. Pretty big.
We lost Rick.
He's gone.
Okay. Let me see. Doug, do you want to go next? And maybe Rick can go after.
Hey everyone. Hey, do you mind skipping me for 5 minutes while I'm
Sure.
wrapping something up, and I can come back and give an update then? Thanks.
No worries. Take your time. And we got Rick back. Hello, Rick. Can you hear us? You are mute if you are talking.
Yes, I'm back.
At least not for me. Rich, maybe you can give it a try.
Rick, do you want to stop sharing your screen and then I'll share mine?
Yeah, if Murdat cannot see it, we can do that.
See if this works.
Let's try this.
It is. There we go. Can you see it?
Yes, we have it.
Can people see this?
Yes.
Okay, next time
Yes.
I will ensure that I have no Windows laptop. Can people hear me as well?
Yes.
Yes.
Amazing. So thank you so much for having me on the water cooler. I was asked, like we said yesterday, we shipped the live runner in Go Live Pair, and I promised like a bigger presentation on what the live runner can do. So that's it here. So this is the first slide. So next slide. Great. So the live runner was created basically. It started this track from like the transformation SPE when we went into like the clearinghouses as proposed by Josh to really solve two things, two barriers in the LivePeer software. So that's basically if you had wanted to run something on LivePeer, you had to really put a specific code in Go Live Per, and also the AI runner to get it running, also get like reviews from the team, and that really hurted like the demand bets that you could do on the network. On the other side, also on the demand side, requesting a job on the Live Per network was also hard. There was like a more bloated Go Live Per gateway in the Go Live Per software, so you had to know like crypto, you had to set up wallets, you had to run this gateway, which did a lot more than just paying for jobs, also a lot of media tasks. And then after that, you could do your request on LivePeer. So the Live Runner, which was created by Josh here, that solved those problems because in there you could see, so we were a little bit here limited in the demand bets that we could do, but also in a lot of teams that want to onboard and use the network, they were limited by this bigger gateway. So next slide. So what's the Live Runner? So the Live Runners changed the LivePeer's architecture significantly there. So a lot of people saw already a lot of demos from John on like the clearinghouse side. So we now have the payment logic outside of Go LivePeer. It's still in Go Live, but outside of the gateway, meaning that this is a new role that just does the payments. It signs for it. On top of it, you can do a clearinghouse if you want to ensure that you also want to do authentication, metering, fiat billing, and one of the hosted clearinghouses, which you just heard about, is done by John, the payment house. People should try that out. Under there, you now have a local SDK. So there is one Python SDK which the team shipped, which you can use to directly request jobs to the orchestrator. And but you can also use your own SDK if you adhere to like the communication schemas. On the orchestrator, it now is a reverse proxy, meaning that it's very similar to how you would run a container on any other cloud. You just have the container running on the GPU, on the server, and then essentially the client can directly connect to the routes that's on the container. So that means that, for example, for an LLM container, you could do a VLM container, and you could have multiple routes there, one for like HTTP, one for SSA. You can do that together. I did it in my example. You also have Dadim running Scope, who uses WebSockets, Trickle on there, and also, for example, a text to image you can do. But this is not limited to just those examples. It's really any container that you can make that has like HTTP endpoints on it, SSA endpoints on it, a WebSocket, or Trickle, which is the real-time algorithm just developed for doing real-time and getting that through the firewall. What happens here is if you request that from the app will ask a remote signer for like a ticket, a payment, and then basically, or the orchestrator gives a 402 payment challenge to ask for a payment. The SDK asks the remote signer for that ticket. The signer will validate that the user holding the API key is an authenticated user. And the moment that is done, you can use the SDK directly to do these jobs on the orchestrators. Then there are two ways to register a job on LivePeer. I will talk about that a little bit later. But apart from that, it will just be proxied through the orchestrator. So next slide. Great. So how does this work on currently on the app side there? So compared to what you had to do last, if people remember in the AI runner, you had to code, you had to provide a container, then code the OpenAPI schema, then assure the roots are there, and that was all really a lot of work. Currently, you only need a container. So for example, if you have a FLLM container, I will share like an examples repository. It's just a container running, the official one unmodified, and then the orchestrator can attach it to his orchestrator machine, and then it can already do jobs, and it's OpenAI compatible. On the other side, there's also a dynamic mode. This means that the app itself can attach to the orchestrator. This is very handy if you want to do more dynamic loading. You can think about, for example, also loading capabilities containers based on signals. That means that if you have an orchestrator machine, you have a server, you can just use Ansible or Kubernetes or any orchestration system to get the container running, and then essentially this container with an orchestrator secret and an orchestrator endpoint there will be able to attach and will be immediately available for jobs on the network. So that are the two run modes that we currently have. They currently come with, of course, the limitations because the software is quite new. But essentially you can see how this can automatically scale if there is like signaling added and another features, which I will be talking about later. So the next slide. So how do you call it as an application? So that's also currently that's through the LivePeer Python SDK. It are just a couple of functions there for example, for like a batch jobs. It's called a single shot in this domain. So you just select the runner, then you call the runner, and then essentially you will get your result back, and it will be paid for, and the payment will be done until the request is returned. Then you also have a persistent mode, which allows you to do, for example, real-time jobs where the session keeps paying for it, and that's metered per second, for example. There are several pricing schemes in the runner. You have fixed pricing, you only pay one price for a request. You have hours-based pricing, and you have single-based pricing currently right now. So that's how you call it as an application right now, just the SDK. And then you run your own wallet, your remote signer, or you just log in with the payment house and you can do jobs on the LivePeer network. Next slide, please. So what did I did a lot of testing with the stack here. Thank you for all the orchestrators that helped there. And what were we managed to run quite quickly on the network? These are some examples. I don't think the videos are working. These are all real time because I found it a lot more interesting here. So we have Flux Client created by Sagar under the network engineering SPE. So that's a video to video model. There's a real-time transcription, I can share the demos later, which is doing a NASA stream with transcription. There is like object detection where there is an algorithm that looks for cows and then it gives an error or like a warning when the cow is further ahead from the herd. There's sports tracking and there's also gesture-based augmentation, which you probably saw blow up a little bit on Twitter these days. Those were really quickly able to run on like the LivePeer system. Most of them were created, I think, in a couple of cloud prompts when you have a really good spec. So it's really everybody that can use AI can create these containers and they can run it on LivePeer. So I can share these demos a little bit later because they're not running. Next slide. So how does it work for the orchestrators? As I already explained, the only thing you will need is essentially a container. There's like a go LivePeer use live runner flag in there. If you run that, you have the two modes. So one mode is static. You have like a very small JSON config. And there's also a dynamic mode when you just push up a container and it attaches automatically. And it's up to you for now to use your orchestration system that you want. And then if it's attached, the job can be done and it can be priced. It's advertised on two parts right now. So it's on the orchestrator itself. It has a new discovery hook with JOS added, but also on the remote signer, where it really caches all the discovery that it had from the orchestrators that are attached. So that can work, for example, through the service registry, meaning that the signer always has like a good overview of what the orchestrators can do. Next slide, and nearly the last one, I think. So how does it relate to the LivePeer agent track, which we saw the team really putting a lot of effort in? Shout out to everybody doing that, Sean, Steph, and everybody else. So how does it relate? The live runner will replace like the bring your own container stack that the LivePeer agent stack is running on. So it needs all these parts. So John is already working on like the payments, where it uses the payment clearinghouse to provide like a remote signer to the MCP. You can authenticate there, and then the MCP actually uses the SDK under the hood to do the jobs on the LivePeer network. And then Chang did a lot of work on like the agentic discovery layer that is in between that makes it possible for the agents to understand this. So the LivePeer agent software there is really a customer of this live runner, but this live runner can do a lot more. And if you want to do, for example, real time, if you want to do batch, it's able to do that and get it on the orchestrators. Next slide. So this is very early, so there's a lot of things to do still. For example, you can imagine that currently we still, this is a little bit manual. I worked with 4 orchestrators on that. They were able to do this quite quickly with their agents, but it's not automatic, meaning that if you have somebody show up, what you eventually would like is they just signal that they want this container running, it runs, and then it does jobs on the LivePeer network where the orchestrator is just priced, for example, based on compute or the job types that they want to do. So there's a lot of things to do. That's sandboxing for that needed. For example, the signaling that I said, verification, which is quite hard, better metrics, etc. So there's a lot of work still to be done, and we're looking forward to work with the bigger orchestrator set under also like the live per agent to get like the feedback needed to improve the core software so that it can be more production ready. Next slide, and I think that's the last one. Yes, this is the question. So really big shout out for Josh for working extremely hard on this live runner in the last month. Thank you so much, Josh. I had a lot of fun testing it and creating my workflows. And then also to John for the clearinghouse side. I think these two things really solved two critical things that were limitations in the live per stack that really limited us to do demand bets. And I think this really unlocks the live per agent bet, but also any demand bets that the community wants to do in the future. So big shout out. We have Josh, I think John also in the chat. So if people want to ask questions on the live runner, Josh can respond to them on like the clearinghouse. John can do that. If people have questions about the agentic stack, the discovery layer, we also have Chung here.
Thank you very much. Great. Any questions from anyone? It's amazing to see how Live Runner works and the transformation that we had during the past couple of months. It's just mind blowing. Great shout out to you guys. Okay, I don't think there is any questions. I see Rich and others typing. Just gonna give it like a bit of time to see if massive unlock. Do you have any idea how to prioritize and what to do next on the orchestrator side?
Yes, I think people can still hear me. Yeah, so basically, I already tested with 4 orchestrators right now to get like to potential problems. So that was Pon, Killat as Walder, Fast Agent, and Frank. I will probably do some testing with those guys as well. But we are also onboarding like the orchestrators to the agentic suite, which is running on top of the live per agent. So that will provide a lot of the info needed to really improve this further. I can share the agentic onboarding. I think that's the best place for people to get started. So there are 2 threads. I will share the one where we are really doing the testing with like smaller workloads outside of the live per agent, and then we have the threads where Chang is onboarding orchestrators to the live per agents, where people can already sign up. So I will share that. Let me find it. That's this one. So that are the 2 threads for orchestrators to go to. If people have any questions, just respond to this thread and the team will respond there. Does that answer your question, Ritz? Or the other priorities were a little bit listed in like the future things there.
Yeah, obviously there's a lot to do and a lot of I guess just thinking from a prioritization standpoint, what do you see as the next step? And you've mostly answered it from the agent perspective.
Yeah, I'd like to add that I think that the clearinghouse could potentially serve some of these MCP agentic integration options. Think about how you might have your agent use Railway CLI or AWS CLI to interact with those services. So I think we could offer something like a builder MCP or even like user scoped customized capabilities. We've intentionally kept Payment House sort of limited in scope, and are encouraging other people to build those platforms on top of it. But I do think there's an opportunity to like build something where you could deploy a capability with an agent. And certainly running jobs in the network too. That's probably the most obvious uses for it. And just for context, I've got 2 PRs here. I draft ones for Payment House, but they are to allow agents to log into Payment House and actually create an account, which would be really interesting. And then finally for like a user scoped MCP.
That's super interesting. Thank you very much. Then I believe we can move on to the next person if there's any questions. Doug, are you ready?
Yes. Thanks for bearing with me there. I don't have a long update today. I just wanted to give a sort of a status update on the protocol design feedback process. I see my screen shared here, but the slide looks really small. Does it look really small to everyone, or is it taking the full screen?
It's not loading on my side, please. I'm not sure about the others.
Interesting.
As Rick mentioned, not loading.
Strange. All right, let me, this is just one slide. It's not that important, so I'm going to take a screenshot and drop it into the chat. Let's see. Here we go. So yeah, I just shared a screenshot in the chat. I just want to highlight some of the key dates as we're progressing through the community feedback period on the protocol and incentive design for LivePeer 2.0. Thanks to everyone who has shown up in the forum, the Discord, and our open community calls to ask questions, understand the designs, bring opinions, challenge some of the key open items. It's all highly informative. So here's the timeline that we're moving on. Last week we held community calls for the node operator and delegator topics in the protocol design. They were great. Lots of valuable feedback that'll inform the final design. Tomorrow, everyone is welcome to attend a call on the validator role, which is sort of one of the newest and most sort of open and debated topics in the LivePeer 2.0 protocol design. A lot of open questions as it relates to validators as to how many do we need? What should the compensation look like for the validator role? Should it be inherited by current node operators or current orchestrators? Should it be distinct from the node operator role or be the same? What's the cost of attack? All these things, we have strong opinions on, but the community call will be a good time to get into the details. On Thursday, I'll look to publish a thread that outlines some of the parameters and mechanisms in the burn mint equilibrium. That's the mechanism by which fees that node operators earn will be used to buy LPT from the market and burn a portion of that. And then node operator compensation will be in rewards in proportion to how many fees they had generated. So that was one of the most sort of favored part of the 2.0 proposal when we did the feedback session. I think 70% were for it and no one was against it. And some people just said they needed more information. So Thursday will be the moment that more information is available. So looking forward to that. We'll do a community call on that. Not next week, I'll be out next week, but the following. And it's all leading towards August 28th, the light paper, sort of the opinionated first version of the protocol specification that takes all the feedback and ideas into account. That's not the final version of the protocol. We can still revise, especially as we implement, test, simulate, model out the economics. But it will be an opinionated version instead of just a bunch of potential concepts we can consider. So that's what the busy rest of August looks like. Hopefully that's a helpful overview for everyone.
Thank you very much, Doug. Everyone, we're looking forward to have you in tomorrow's call and also the following calls as Doug mentioned. And yeah, if there are any questions, please feel free to ask or drop them in the chat. I assume not. Thank you very much, Doug, and looking forward to the call for tomorrow. Steph, I think you're next in the line. Do you want to jump on stage? Please shoot us. Yes.
Yes. Hello.
Hello.
Everyone hear me? I wonder how I'm going to fare with screen sharing here. So we will see. Okay, maybe I'll just, folks who don't know me, I'm Steph, head of narrative here at the foundation, leading on our LivePeer agent product and go-to-market sprint with a lot of the good folks here. So Merdad, Rich, John on Payment House, Chung, Rick, Adam, Peace, lots of other folks touching this part of the project. Super exciting. And yeah, I just wanted to give a just brief update on where we are. And let's see if I'm going to be allowed to share my screen. Just give me 1 second. All right, are we looking good? Did we make it work?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Nice. Okay. All right. So I'm going to start with a little video that I made with the agent. And once again, just a reminder to everyone that I am not an influencer. I'm just an observer of this type of behavior. So this is my best dupe at what this process is. But realistically, you know, I obviously am familiar with this process because we're doing it live here for our own content. So, but yeah, just the thing to look for here is just how yeah, how much was how many micro decisions the LivePeer agent made in creating the final version of this explainer video that was me bringing in a bunch of raw takes from my phone and some assets that and some video and some screen recordings I had taken of me navigating the product and me navigating our website. And I gave that all to the LivePeer agent, and this is what we created. How will beta users get access to the LivePeer agent? Creators and marketers who need to generate, edit, and augment volumes of video content affordably across models and with high creative control will go to earlyaccess.livepeer.org and sign up for the waitlist. They verify their email, and soon after, we send them the one-click install package for the LivePeer agent, so they can get started right away. Okay, it's not so bad, right? I think it's pretty good. So yeah, what is LivePeer agent? So you know, over the course of the next couple of weeks, we're going to be working on the positioning and the messaging to really hone in on how we talk about the LivePeer agent. And so you may see some slight variations on a version of this slide throughout the next couple of weeks, but our current version right now is LivePeer agent is a custom MCP that turns your Claude, Codex, or Hermes into a video production studio. And so you can, you know, remember you could use LivePeer agent from right inside your agent, and we're specifically perfecting the co-work use case, but folks have successfully installed and generated usable assets already in Codex and Hermes. And who is this for? So LivePeer agent is for creators and marketers who use agents to generate, edit, and augment volumes of video content affordably across models and with high creative control. We actually met with a core user or within our ICP earlier today who fits this archetype, and was super exciting conversation. And one of the biggest insights actually was the desire for metering and pricing transparency as a way to make decisions on variations or volume of variations, and also the ability to sort of own your workflows and own your LoRa's as one example, and be able to hand those off. So this sort of validates this, you know, one point of strong validation from one person who fits the archetype that, you know, they want to have volume of video content affordably, transparently, and then also with this high creative control and be able to take it with you. So really excited to continue those conversations. We've got more scheduled for this week, and I think maybe even with some folks in the audience. Okay, so what is, this slide actually, this is not the final version of this, but this week our milestone is a new LivePeer is going to go live on Thursday. And please forgive me for what is on screen right now. Peace Note in the audience, as for folks who don't know, is our product and go-to-market design specialist who is helping create a super delightful and clear and retention-oriented user experience end-to-end from the top of our funnel all the way through the product experience. So we're working closely on that. But the TLDR here is we're going to have a new live here that's going to go live on Thursday. Really what this is just a skin on the existing sort of live peer infrastructure. But the goal here is to really signal that this is live peers next era, and it's clean, it's focused, and here's what it's pointed at. Okay, so then in addition to having a new live peer go live, we're also going live with the agent waitlist. And so what does this mean exactly? Everything, or all of our calls to action, are going to point to this site here on the left, earlyaccess.livepeer.org. This is our waitlist. This is now our hero CTA. And what this does is it captures a person's email, we verify it, and then now they're in our funnel. I'll get to sort of what that funnel will look like in the next slide. And then this site on the screen on the right, this is the earlyaccess.livepeer.org/about. So this is the agent's primary marketing site where we will include the, our messaging, our positioning, links out to the playbooks or recipes. So this will be where the core value proposition of the agent will live. So why do we have now 3 surface areas, right? So we've got livepeer.org, which is going to continue to be our primary marketing site. This is representative of the network as a whole. We'll be able to highlight all of our upcoming protocol changes and the critical network engineering that's going on. And while we want to, and while we're in this beta period, testing the live peer agent, we want to have that experience sort of sandboxed. And so the way to do that is we created this earlyaccess.livepeer.org URL to demonstrate, this is a sort of like transitional, like sort of beta experience that once we are through the post the demo next week and we're sort of through the our closed beta testing period, we'll basically deprecate earlyaccess.livepeer.org and move everything over to and have everything resolved to livepeer.org/agent, and then our final agent console that will be supported by John's backend, where users can track keys or take a look at metering and usage. Big design space still, but that's the current architecture of our funnel. Okay, so then how do they get to the waitlist? How do they find us? We have 2 paths, and thanks to Chung and Peace for really trying to problem solve how we can capture the most demand while also maintaining rigor around our funnel operation so that we don't lose people and we can actually continue to retain them and send them educational materials and whatnot. So 2 paths. The first path is a content first path, right? So this is a path that we owned. This is where we sort of drive the demand through our funnel. So that's our content, which we're working with Merdad on a pretty exciting distribution engineering format for our content. Hoping that we'll be able to see that really ramp up in the next week or 2. So from there, all of our content going out to X, our newsletter, which is going to be restarted this week as well, and anything from our livepeer.org site, all of that will funnel to the waitlist, which again, users will go in, they'll sign up with email, they'll receive a verification, and then once we're ready to onboard batches of folks into the beta experience, we'll send them a link that has an activation code wrapped in the install package. They drop that package right into Cowork or Codex or Hermes, and that gives them their demo capped credits. And then once they run through those, there'll be a CTA for them to take the next step and create an account. Still some pieces to design there, especially at the end, how we capture that CTA depending on our readiness for turning on paid usage. But the very least, we have a waitlist established, we have the basics of this funnel, and now we can get into the specifics of the design questions there. Path 2, this one is like, for instance, on MCP registries. This is a user that will find the URL somewhere, starts using it, and once they put it into their Claude, their Codex, or their Hermes, the agent will ask them for their email in the chat. We send them it basically puts them on their waitlist. We send them a code similar to the install package that's in the path 1, and they're off and running. So we have 2 really strong proven paths to capture demand. And yeah, this is, I'm just going to continue to keep this in here because I think it's important that, yeah, we're going to go to market. We can go to market today. We can start that demand funnel today. And this does not limit or disincentivize future demand uses of the network. So, and the MCP is an open protocol. Anyone can fork it. Anyone can build on the AI runner, ship applications or surface workflows directly to the network. So, we're excited to maintain that optionality. And right now we're also optimizing for LivePeer Agent as the most immediate and potentially effective demand generation product. And yeah, reminder, another milestone for us is next Thursday, August 13th. I'm going to be down in New York giving a product demo of the LivePeer Agent to the Creative AI meetup. Super exciting. I'm going to be partnering with Eric from Daydream on that. And so shout out to him for hooking that up. And yeah, so the whole team is sort of driving towards this demo, working end to end and being really awesome, so that at the end of that demo, I can turn around to the group of to everyone attending, and I've already sent it out to my New York friends, so there will be a cohort of homies there to cheer us on. But the plan is, after we get the demo, we're able to turn around and say sign up for the wait list, and then within 24 hours, folks can be off and running with their first generation. And thanks to Merdad for helping draft our initial lifecycle automations, so we can hit them, in T+1, T+2, T+3, to make sure they're getting educational materials and know how to actually use the agent. So that's exciting and in the works. And something that I'm working on, I want to kind of share with everyone here as like a prompt. So right now the playbooks we have are agent readable. Chung shared a huge library of them currently wrapped in the storyboard branding, which a side note, those will be deprecated and collapsed into LivePeer Agent, sort of reskinned. But right now the playbooks are agent readable, and Peace and I and the users that we're working with, we're working on making those human readable. And so my ask here is I'm gonna be more active in dropping some of these skills. I have one working right now, and let me see where it's at. Cool. Yeah. So I'm going to be dropping some more of these playbooks, like these sort of raw playbooks, into the Discord, and would love for folks to give them a try, and and tell me how it worked. Like this, we're kind of doing a challenging thing here, where we're Peace keeps saying this, so I'm going to repeat it, but we're attempting to create deterministic outputs from something that is very much non-deterministic. So. But there's a lot to learn in that design space, and a lot of different guardrails we can put up to sort of guide the agent more toward the goal that we're looking for. So what you're looking at here is I gave the agent my friend's album artwork, who I'm actually helping her create a bunch of video assets using her sort of raw library. This is her album cover. It's a risograph print, and I just animated it using LivePeer Agent. And LivePeer Agent also spun out this little comparison card that has metering of what the agent did. And I'm building this version of the output into all of the playbooks that I'll be handing out to the community, so that if they work as they should, you'll get your generation, whatever it is. In this case, it's like take a still image and animate it. And then you also get a side-by-side comparison of the raw and the edited and what the agent added, so that you can easily drop that into Discord and tell us how it worked, how it didn't work, what got you excited. So yeah, it's just excited for everyone to get started. And yeah, let me know if you have any questions. That's all I got.
Amazing. Thank you very much. It's super exciting. And also, this is a very awesome way of seeing how agent works, with like the agent added and this tag to you. That's super awesome. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm having fun.
Yeah, for sure. I'll look. Um, and yeah, great shout out to Sean and to you, Steph, for building all of this. Question from Doug: have you found this raw versus edited is a very common pattern versus, say, the starting point being a prompt or a series of many storyboard images?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, yeah, I guess, there's a couple use cases here. There's like okay, we want to just see what the agent is capable of. And so I bring in a single image. But I guess even the video I showed earlier was me giving it a bunch of assets. So in some ways, the series of many storyboard images, that's a version of that, right? That I basically gave the agent a bunch of clips and a bunch of raw assets. And what it's showing in these side by sides is, yeah, mostly the tools it called. So yeah, there's many ways to start. You could start with just a simple prompt and from nothing, but don't really recommend it because there's just so many design decisions there to be made, and the agent continues to perform better with when you give it, the more you give it, the more, if you even create a bunch of storyboard images, which you can do in like Midjourney, for instance. You could just create 100 of a type of image and bring that into the LivePeer agent. And then it's able to sort of create this composite understanding of that, and that then bleeds into the rest of the generations. But yeah, I'm not sure if that answered your question, Doug.
All good. Yeah, just trying to get a sense if you were latching on to this like side by side comparison view as a product idea that helps people use it, or just kind of a marketing showcase to give people a perspective of what's happening.
Yeah. Currently just a marketing showcase, but I think there is something to be learned here about, how this demonstrates best use of the product. So I appreciate the provocation.
Amazing. Thank you very much. So I believe
Cool.
if there
Thanks,
is
guys.
no other questions, the next person in the queue is Sean. Uh, Sean, do you want to hop on the stage? Mm, okay. Hello.
Hi, I hope everyone can hear me now.
Yes, we
Okay,
can
cool.
hear you.
Great. So my update is really simple and straightforward. As a community, already see the 5 milestone roadmap. Rick already give everybody the updates on the milestone 1, which is the live runner and the SDK. I think SDK is to be released today. Live runner is released the last week. And my update is mainly focusing on how can we build on top of it to make live runner based capabilities, agent ready. So yesterday I published a simple thread in the community Discord. I think Rick also shared that link as well. I'm opening the invitation to 5 early adopters, to join and build the capabilities based on the live runner and make that agent ready. And my plan is in the next 2 weeks, including this week, to support these 5 early adopters to go through all the issues we can find to make this agent readiness to be not only reliable performant but also become self-serving ready, which means in this new journey of the agent first approach, we hope not only user can use the lighter networks to the agent, this flexible way to use the network, but also community can participate in this, much more easier without the bottleneck of any engineering, support or engineering development. So the documentation is there. I already see Tom and Modi and Frank is already signed up. We still have 2 empty slots there. Particularly Tom and Frank are very quick. They already self-tested about, I think, 16 capabilities to make that ready. I would encourage the community to embrace that. You can add your name to the list, even you say 5 already ahead of you. Don't worry. The reason I nailed down to the 5 is because it's really my personal capacity able to support no more than 5. So hopefully after this 5, we have more robust solution there, so everybody can get on much easier. Okay. So yeah, that's about my updates. And I know some people already have the questions about telling when can I expect the real traffic flow through if I make that agent compatible. So when you go through the guide I published, you make the your live runner or orchestrator on chain ready for agent to edit in. You already can test it out through your private I call capabilities. Using the agent MCP to see if that's working or not. And I'm going to have to do a manual step to adding, to add those, capabilities onto the network, probably post August 13th. Just don't want to conflict with this, our go-to-market deadline. Once we, add you onto that, and then I'm going to release a load tester, just to test your capabilities, continuously to make sure that in good order they're starting to generate some testing traffic. The main reason for that is in the early days, we may not have significant, demand on this, but I also want the community participation to be actively, incentivized, in the early stage. So we do the same as before. We have a little bit of load testing to hit on you, and in the meantime, we make sure it's performance. Second, we also giving the benefits to people willing to do that in these early days as well. Okay, so that would be my answer to the questions related to that. But any questions in the thread, I'm more than happy to address them as well.
Amazing. Thank you very much. I see Ricky and John are typing. Okay, I think if there are any questions, you can just drop them in the chat. Yeah. Shout out to you, Sean, for putting all of this together. It's amazing how everything is coming together and how crucial it has been to the journey that we've come so far. Thank you very much. I think we have one more person in the queue, and then that would be it for the water cooler. They got a bit longer than usual. So we have a new member for our community. Michael, do you want to hop on the stage and take it away?
Yeah, sure. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. How are you?
Perfect. Oh, good. Fine. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. So, hi everyone. I'm Michael, also known on Discord as Nautilus. I'm new to the LivePeer community, and I'm here to show a project I've been building for creators who want to train and use their own AI models. It's called LoRa Pilot, and I'm exploring how it could become a live peer backed creator GPU workspace. So lately, lots of the work has been done introducing new inference workflows that include LoRa models. And the problem is that these workflows refer you to Hugging Face or Civitai to download LoRa's, and the platform itself lacks capability of creating your own LoRa's. And this is quite important because it's getting very popular and important for anyone who is trying to create a video with consistent characters or products across scenes. So the wider problem is that the creators currently need to assemble lots of separate tools just to train a custom model. Plus, these tools are sometimes really difficult to master. Creators need to create data sets, they need to download models, then find training workflows, test the epochs which come out of the training. They need to do a lots of fine tuning within the inference, and they also need persistent storage because this is usually not a one-time task. If you get the type of creator who trains their own models, those are the type of users or creators that will be coming back over and over. Because they will just keep building and making their workflows better and better over time, creating this set of LoRa models and doing lots of other things. So LoRa Pilot packages all these workflows into one persistent workspace. It's an open source, also available as a Docker image. It has already passed 10,000 public downloads. I built it originally for my own daily work, so it focuses heavily on practical workflows and reducing the setup time. But let me try to briefly share my screen and uh, and show you. What? Nope. Okay. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So this is what I call a control pilot. That's like the heart of the LoRa pilot that gives you an overview of all the services which are running. You can play with the settings, download modules, and so on. Let me show you briefly. So here you see like the dashboard with workload of your GPU, CPU, how much free space you have. You can schedule your machine to shut down at a certain time. So this is, yeah, let me just turn it into dark mode because it's really killing my ass. So this is the settings section where you enter all the important things like Hugging Face token and lots of others. You can set passwords to protect the whole environment and so on. So these are all the services which are running within my toolkit. So there are basically free trainers, which are like the golden standard for training LoRa's. So the most well known is Kohia SS. Then we have AI toolkits, which is very popular for being up to date with all the modern or recently released models. And the third one is diffusion pipe, which is also like a golden standard, especially when it comes to WAN LoRa models. Beside that, there's Jupyter Lab and VS Code Server, which allow advanced users to basically manage their server or create their own scripts and stuff. And for the inference, there are like two packages. One is ConfUI, and the other one is Invoke AI. All these packages they get auto updated with based on the releases from GitHub and so on. This is a section which allows you to download models quickly. So you choose the model family like Flux or SDXL, and you basically just click install, and it just downloads the model. You don't need to go to Hugging Face. Okay. Bad example. Because I did not put the Hugging Face token there. Okay, let me briefly show you. There is a section where you can create or upload your datasets, or very easily create one. So let's call this one live peer, and I can either delete it, rename it, or view the dataset. Of course, it's empty. I've just created it. This is another module which I've created. It's a tool which helps you tag or caption your dataset. So let's quickly upload a few pictures. So we have 4 pictures here. Here are settings which allow me to choose the model which I want to use for tagging. And I've created this package to be like privacy first. So you can use locally running models like Deep Dumbaroo or VD14 tagger, or you can use any VLLM which is OpenAI compatible model. So in this case, let's just quickly run this one. I'll save it as my preferred model, and what I can do, I can either manually add tags, I can crop the images, I can remove them from the dataset. So let's tag all of them. I'll just run this. Okay, so now we have basically dataset with 4 images. We have these tags which were provided by the chosen model. I'll just save this to my workspace and sorry, go to set. What's happening? Okay, okay, this is interesting. Okay, let me do it this way. I'll export
Just Michael,
the whole. Yeah.
Michael, sorry, just cautious of the
Ah.
time if we can speed run through
Okay.
it.
Okay. Okay. The point which I'm trying to make is that if you don't know anything about LoRa's and you are new to the training, this is what's waiting for you. This is like the basic training within Cohia FS. You need to fill in all these, and I guarantee that 80% of this you won't understand. So what LoRa Pilot does, it really simplifies the training. You just choose your dataset, then basically you choose the name for the output auras, and you choose one of the output quality. I would go with normal quality, and you just start the training, and that's it. So it will start TensorBoard and Cohia, and it will basically do everything that's necessary. Okay, so that's about it. One more maybe nice thing to show is that it's uh, it's done with people with zero knowledge of the whole stable diffusion space in place. There's very, very extensive documentation which basically onboards you into the world of stable diffusion. Okay, yeah, that's about it. So in one sentence, LoRa gives creators the complete workflow for training and using custom AI models, and LivePeer could provide the GPU infrastructure that makes the workflow easier to launch and scale. So thanks for having me. I'd be happy to answer questions or share the proposal. And I'm pasting into the chat a link to the proposal on the roadmap dashboard. Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you very much, Michael. There's one question from Rick, and that people might be interested in what part of the application are you looking forward to run on live peer?
Uh, Sorry, come again.
So, which part of the application are you looking forward to run on top of live peer?
Yeah. Okay. I think it's very useful as a bundle. So I know your guys are already running ConfUI for inference with several workflows. So what I find particularly useful is the ability to create data sets, manage them, and use them for training. And from there, you can do like batch processing, or you can test the LoRa's that came out of training and use them in the workflows which are already on the platform.
Interesting. Rick, does that answer your question?
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe just to add quickly, my toolkit supports almost 30 modules for training, and basically all the modules that are out there for the inference. So
Mhm. And also, Sean, go for it.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I think we're very interested in making the LoRa training capabilities, agent accessible. Currently, as one of the brand kit in the agent, we use the Fall hosted Flux, LoRa training to train the data set to help the user to manage the character consistency. I just share the link over there again, tagging you. If you are reading that, think about, how can, participate in this, make your capabilities live runner compatible. I'm definitely interested in enable that as part of the, agent. Then we can leverage your bundles to help the user to manage their brand assets or characters, much more effectively. Yeah.
yeah, so actually there are these new grant, and I posted an application for two versions how LoRa Pilot could be integrated into live peer ecosystem. One feels more live peer native, because it's mostly about making its API public and integrating with the whole ecosystem. And the first and the second proposal, it's about enabling the possibility to run a Docker image with LoRa Pilot, which gives you almost instant ability to provide all these features to live peers creators. So if the decision was up to me, I would prefer the second proposal as the first, and in parallel start working on the more native version of integration with live peers.
Hey,
Okay.
thank you very much, Michael. Yeah, I really suggest
Yeah.
to you to go to the AI workload technical chat and just communicate with and participate in the discussion there. I think there are a lot of useful things that can come out of it. So definitely
Mhm.
suggest you take the conversation async and participate in that chat. Thank you very much. So
Yeah.
as yeah,
I'm not. I am not sure if that channel is available to me, but yeah, if you point me to it later, I'll definitely join it. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
yep, I just tagged you in the chat. So yeah. Um Thank you very much. As the final part of Watercooler, as always, we have the shout out to anyone else that you've been enjoying working with in the community. So if you want to thank someone, if there's a pat on the back you want to give someone, this is the time. So I'm just gonna go first and shout out to Steph and Sean for driving the Life Peer agent, which has been consuming my life for the past week as I've been playing around with it, and it's awesome. Thank you very much. Anyone else? Any shout outs?
I'll give a quick shout out to Michael for coming up. It's not easy to do it the first time. And I know there's been a lot of Laura work done with Daydream, and now with agents. So hopefully the presentation will be fruitful, and you can be a welcome part of this ecosystem in the future. So a big shout out to Michael.
Amazing. Any more shout outs?
Huge shout out to the Live Runner team as well.
Oh yeah.
This has been a long time coming, and I think a special shout out to he's gone to Josh. He's architected so much of this since for years now. So yeah, massive shout out to Josh, Rick, to John, and to Chung for getting it over the line.
Yeah, to give a big shout out to Steph and Peace, and they have been trying this and even that to think about creative ways to actually present it and finding so many interesting use cases there which are not possible before. Very big shout out to them. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you very much, everyone. I think with this last shout out, we come to the end of this water cooler. And yeah, it was amazing to talk to you and discuss all things life here. And see you next week. We're just typing. Yep. Have a good day. Cheers. Bye.
Thanks, my dad.
Welcome.